Now, he's not the smartest or most talented guy, but he is hung. He does have a huge dick, and he's using it to lay pipe on just sort of horny older women. I think in a lot of ways you could say Putin is a lot like Thomas Jane's character in Hung as well. And the old ladies in this scenario are European buyers of natural gas. And he's laying pipe to them right now.
He's laying pipe to them. That's right.
Yeah, but like
absolutely.
When he fucks Natalie Zia and like really likes it, you know, because she's like hot, that's like when he gives weapons to Russian-speaking separatists.
I'm trying to figure out who Ukraine is snitched to in this scenario. Like, who are the cops that they snitched to?
Oh, well, you know, I mean, obviously McNulty and Bunk. And but I mean, that literally. I mean, Ukraine has complained to the Baltimore Police Department about Putin taking their corner.
I thought you were going to say they've complained to Dominic West.
They're calling the actor.
Is America McNulty or Bunk? Because it's America.
I feel
Canada.
America's like Stan Valchek.
Yeah.
Like just a senile oaf.
Right. I mean, if we're trying to be more romantic though, like Terrell is trying to be, like, I feel like America and Canada were McNulty and Bunk, right? Because we're the two countries where we care about Ukraine the most.
Yeah.
No one cares about Ukraine like us.
Not even Ukrainians, frankly.
No, they do not give a shit as much as your average Ukrainian or Canadian. No way. I would have to say that America is probably McNulty, because it's like we're always screwing up, but people are like, you tried. You did kind of a good job. Like in Afghanistan. And I would say Bunk, with his like lovable his lovable foibles and extramarital affairs, that would have to be Justin Trudeau in Canada.
Does Bunk have extramarital affairs on the show?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's like,
oh
crazy.
right. Yeah, he has to get McNulty to pick him up from the bar. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Gotta.
Somebody is not as up on the shows as they need to be.
Yeah, really. I don't know how you expect to analyze complicated world affairs if you're not.
I need to go back and study more Ukraine.
Yeah, Will he can try to make this like movies, but it's like no one wants to know what character in A Knight's Tale Ukraine is.
It's just like more just like I said, this article here is just padded out with just a plot summary of what happens in The Wire.
It really is impressive. I want to say this. Like, it's impressive how many words he drew out of this like stone, basically, of a premise.
So like
he really got a lot out of it.
You're never going to guess where he's going with this. So he says here, in season 4 of the series, Marlowe was winning a violent street war against the Barksdale organization and other smaller drug outfits. When Marlowe wanted someone executed, he would dispatch Chris and Snoop to kill the person in an abandoned home, nail the entrance shut with a power gun, and leave their bodies. On the streets, these Marlowe-made tombs were known as vacants. Anyone who dared cross the young drug lord found himself in one. Proposition Joe, an East Side drug lord who organized the co-op with the city's top dope boys, handled street disputes under a United Nations-like framework, joked during one of the meetings that Marlowe can make an inconvenient disappear, can't he? In Russia, the prison system serves as Putin's vacants.
So there's a going, like, Prop Joe is like Antonio Guterres. He's like the Secretary General of the United Nations. There's another parallel.
But I feel like the EU being Prop Joe is like a way better analogy. I mean, like, who knows?
I'm just gonna I can't. This article goes on fucking forever, and I don't want to spoil The Wire for anyone who hasn't watched it yet. But he just says here, just closing it out here, he says, from a foreign policy standpoint, we have to stop positioning America as the more noble side during our engagement with Moscow, because both countries are imperialist nations with expansionist agendas. Neither is better than the other. They both do fucked up shit to weaker states. America did invade Iraq in 2003, and NATO felt it was its business to take out Muammar Gaddafi in Libya in 2011. And let's not even get into the United States' long history of interfering, to often terrible effect, in Latin America and the Caribbean. By viewing U.S.-Russian policy through the lens of The Wire, I believe we can analyze more effectively how best to engage Moscow. But to be clear, Putin is like Marlowe. They're both gangsters. But given how dirty both of their worlds are, I just don't think it's fair to single them out as the worst ones. The Wire understood this and positioned its depictions of the good guys and the bad guys accordingly. Too bad the men in three-piece suits in Washington and Brussels condemning Putin over his behavior can't look at their own actions with similar honesty and self-reflection.
Do you think they would if they saw The
I
Wire?
think they would. I think they would.
Yeah, I agree.
That was Obama's entire strategy for change was get people to watch The Wire.
And it worked. A lot of
It
people
worked.
watched it.
That's why everything's great.
I think
I want the article about how Putin is actually Martin Tupper from Dream On, because every time he gets horny, he imagines a 50s movie in his head.
Okay, I think Terrell Starr here. I think he's like the Freeman character. I think he's just sort of like the quiet, bespectacled fellow who, you know, people discount, but like then he's actually low key the smartest one around, and he's just like, you know, building his little doll furniture, you know, just being quiet, but also he's the one who has the analysis that will crack the drug empire of Marlowe, Barksdale, Vladimir Putin.
All the pieces matter.
I'm gonna offer it. I'd like to rework some of this. I think Obama's a guy from a different show. I think he's the lead character in Banshee because he assumed someone else's name. He assumed the name Barack Obama from his former name Barry Sotero, just like how our hero became Lucas Hood.
I think honestly, if more people had watched the show Banshee, I don't think we would be in the state we are now. Because I mean, like, everyone's trying to analyze foreign policy through HBO shows that critics like. But if they had seen probably the best show of the last 20 years in Banshee, then I don't know. Like, I don't think we've been in this problem. Because, you know, like,
Banshee's
one of the bad
best
guys.
show of
Wait,
all time.
wasn't the bad guy in Banshee like a Ukrainian gangster? The rabbit?
I thought
Was he
rabbit
Russian?
Like Serb.
No, I thought he
I
was.
thought he was like Serb, but I have to watch it again.
Oh God! I mean, God, we've done so bad analyzing foreign policy because we've already forgotten most of these shows that
Oh
really
my
like laid
God.
everything out.
I mean, this is on another
according to
level.
this,
Like,
he was, in fact, yes, he was a Ukrainian. So
Oh,
there you go.
okay.
everything
Okay.
comes together.
I like how how did this get published is what I want to know, because like the premise is so fucking thin. Was it like they owed him an article and they just kind of had to run anything? Because this wouldn't. I don't even know how that this would get like a passing grade in a community college. This is just like such a thin premise.
Like you could, yeah, like we said, you could essentially do the same level of analysis comparing Vladimir Putin to the bad guy from any other TV show.
Yeah, no, you could be like, oh, the world stage is like Darkwing Duck, and America's Darkwing Duck. Putin's the guy he fights. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And the way that he summarizes at the end is like such good bad writing, where it's like, obviously, like everyone's bad, but I think if we look at it like The Wire, we see that the fact that everyone's bad. Damn, good job,
like
dude.
Vladimir Putin is like Shane Vendrell from The Shield, but America is Vic Mackey, and if we understood that we were Vic Mackey, then we could deal with the problem.
Yeah, because Shane is
agree.
more evil than Vic Mackey. I mean, because that's the thing. I mean, like the point here is he's saying is like, yeah, America and Russia, they're both gangsta nations, but Putin is like Marlowe in that he is a new level of evil, cold-blooded ruthlessness that, you know, shocks even the conscience of you know, hardened criminals like the United States Empire. And like, you know, obviously is putting the thumb on the scale for like, that's why we're actually the good guys in this conflict.
I saw Terrell's thing, the most recent thing I saw him talking about Ukraine was that Putin's view of Ukrainians mirrors like a white supremacist view of black people.
Yes,
Which
that was
is-
pretty great.
Oh, actually,
Sure,
Like,
okay.
it was like critical Slav theory or something.
Well, here's one that I mean. Here's just a couple hits from Russian Star today. He says here, for all these people saying the West should agree to not allow Ukraine into NATO, I have a question. If Putin can force our hand on that, why would he stop there? Even if Ukraine signed documents never to join NATO, that would not change his behavior. You do realize that telling Ukraine that it should never join NATO is a slap in the face to the 1/3 of the alliance and suggests that none of Eastern Europe should be in NATO or the EU. Continuing, he writes, you do realize that centering France and Germany's thinking and financial interests over Eastern Europeans is offensive and discriminatory, right? If Eastern Europe wasn't in NATO, Russia would be threatening to attack Germany again.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Sure, why not? Why
if
not?
you
Yeah.
think if you
What the
think
hell?
Putin's demands should be respected, you pretty much are defending Eastern European. It makes sense because most white scholars who hold this view are very much about maintaining white power structures anywhere in the world.
No one believes in Russia's capability quite like Russia hawks. I don't even think Russia believes that. Like, I don't think there's anyone in the Kremlin who's like, "Oh man, I can't wait till we get Ukraine out of the way so we can finally take over Germany."
Like,
What
it's not even clear to me that they think they could win a long-term war in Ukraine, like an occupation that would
they
follow
probably
that.
can't.
Which is why I think they're trying to do this like smaller bite and maybe stop there. But the discourse about Putin in particular, like it's unlike anything I've seen in any other part of foreign policy like discourse. It's either you either have to believe that he's world historical genius, like he's the amalgamation of every conqueror that's ever been throughout all of human history, and he's constantly like 10 moves ahead of everybody else playing chess. He's just this massive kind of super genius, or you have to believe that he's just a buffoon who's constantly backing himself into the corner and like taking L's all over the place. And there's no middle ground, it seems like, for people when they're commenting on this stuff.
The thing that like drew the latest rounds of like Hitler like world domination comparisons, taking Crimea in 2014 is like is that like the on ramp to world occupation, taking like a tropical Six Flags? Like what are we doing here?
Well, I mean, you could say that, but like, there was another gentleman who thought he could wage a long war against his rivals for total regional domination before it all blew up in his face. That's right. I'm talking again about Marlowe Stanfield of The Wire.
That's
Oh,
right.
okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, you may wear the
Mind
crown,
blown.
but nobody wears the crown for long. Uneasy is the head that wears the crown because eventually someone else will take the crown. I mean, that's basically the lesson of The Wire, if you've seen that show, as Terrell has.
And Bernie was like Frank Sabatka because he was like, "Oh, hold on, can we talk about white people? I'm racist."
Bernie was season 2 of The Wire.
Yeah. Oh, we need to do protectionism.
And that would make our show Ziggy.
Yeah, we're Ziggy.
That's correct.
obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that works.
Yep.
That holds up.
Agreed.
Okay, there we go. Geopolitical analysis via television. I mean, it's the way of the future, and honestly, it breaks down complicated issues in a way someone like me can understand. A TV watcher.
The Greek, because he's like kind of playing all sides. Because it's like on one hand he's like, "Oh, I'm kind of friends with Russia because they like give me white people when I need a ton of white people." Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is actually, we made
Yeah,
fun
that's
of
where
this.
it's also
This is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely the Greek who's also controls the U.S. government. He just has to send a fax to that guy in the FBI, and all of a sudden they do whatever he wants.
Well, there you go. I think that puts a bow on it for today's episode. I want to thank Derek for joining us once again. Derek,
Absolutely.
the newsletter, the podcast, American Prestige, foreign exchanges. If people want to get on that knowledge express straight to East and West Baltimore, where all the important shit
Yeah.
and world events go down, or at least can be compared to, where should they go?
So the podcast is American Prestige. You can find it anywhere you find your podcasts, or you can check out our Patreon page. Just Google that, you'll find it. That's me and Danny Bessner. We do 2 shows a week, one for subscribers and one for the general populace that covers the events of the week. Yeah, the newsletter is Foreign Exchanges, fx.substack.com. Please check that out too. That's sort of the I wouldn't be able to do the podcast if I wasn't like spending 10 hours a day on the newsletter. So yeah, please check that out too. And that's all I've got time for, really. I'm wiped out as it is.
You're the king of all media.